Hi, I'm John. This is my show, An American Scheme, where I'm proving that Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's actual mother. So let me play you this little clip really quick right here.
It's never because there's evidence that he's done this or done that. It's always financial.
Okay, so that statement right there, that's a basic statement right now that's been said about people that are... It's one of the basic things. Oh, they don't have any evidence, it's financial. Okay, now that's a load of BS. I hate that statement. I don't like talking about Michael as a pedophile, and I don't really like getting into this stuff because it's not really what I'm doing actually. But it does cross over, and now I can see that this is something I need to actually deal with and stuff. So Jordy Chandler, like the guy said, okay, there's no evidence and it's always financial. So let's go right to the heart. The first one would be Jordy Chandler, right? This page right here, if you look over there, is a page called Marmar. And just recently, this person's put out some videos about proving Michael's a pedophile, and there's serious evidence against Michael. This is serious videos. And most of them, if somebody's a hater and somebody hates Michael, and you could tell by the way the video's done if they're trying to downgrade him or make him look bad in a certain way, these ones are not. These videos are done with hardcore evidence, some of the best I've seen against Michael. And it throws me out because it's got the LaToya there, and anytime I see LaToya, that instantly discredits people and stuff like that. But I went ahead and just watched the videos, and a couple of them, and they're good. Okay, so the one there with the Michael Jackson and Jordy Chandler, okay, that one shows all the real evidence. Okay, now we're talking about the stuff like there's no evidence, right? And let's say that the Jordy Chandler, we know that that's all about, they got paid off, and we know the dad had all this stuff about wanting to make the movie and stuff. Okay, so we know all of that stuff, right? But the reality is that video actually shows you the evidence that the police had, the police investigation and what was going on, and it was devastating. It was vicious. It was, once the police had evidence and they had the statement that Jordy was giving them, oh my God, Michael was in big trouble. He was in big trouble. Now, over here to the left, a few videos, it would be the second from on the top, the second from the left over there. The one that says P.I. Don Crutchfield talks Marlon Brando, Michael. Okay, that video right there, that guy is credible beyond credible. He's super duper credible, okay? And that guy just blasted Michael. He had hard evidence and stuff. But one of the main things about his actual hard pedophile evidence was based upon the police reports from the Jordy Chandler, because they're vicious. When you hear the recordings and the actual evidence this other video over here shows you, oh my God. And this guy shows you that, and it's like, yeah. And you have to say Michael should have been arrested with that evidence and with that witness and everything. There should have never been a payout. Michael should have been arrested. And now then we would have found out a lot of, actually, we wouldn't have to go through all of that stuff, because right there we would have found out what was going on, because that was serious, and Michael was either going to have to deal with it and answer those issues and prove he was not there, or else he was in trouble. Because one of the main things is Jordy Chandler had like physical descriptions of Michael's penis and stuff, that right there, and then the talking about the stuff he'd tell, it's bad. So now my one thing I think that can get in here and overcome that is that we know Michael's weird. The way he, like this right here in the photo that she put on the thumbnail with Michael and Jordy right there, and the prince is right next to him and stuff. It's horrible. It makes Michael look so bad. It looks so bad. But we got to take into the context of my story, that none of these people know about my story, that Michael's an orphan and the Peter Pan thing, and he's trying to be feel like a family again and be like what it was like before he found out that he wasn't a Jackson. And that's trying to be like a natural child. And that's what I think a lot of this is going on. But in doing that, Michael actually crossed barriers and he crossed lines, but he didn't cross the pedophile. I don't think he's a pedophile. I'll make that clear. I do not think he's a pedophile. But what I think in the process of what he did with these kids and hanging out, he's definitely touching them, but he doesn't see it as sexual. That's the problem. Michael doesn't see it as sexual, so he doesn't see it as improper, but it is improper. And everybody else knows it's improper. That's the big thing that's going on here. And then Michael could have even went other places where he really went where he shouldn't have went, which this Jordy Chandler one says that Jordy Chandler's given descriptions of Michael's penis. And then I've heard other people say that Michael could have taken hot tubs with the kids and then maybe they were naked, okay? And before I was thought, no, that's not, no way. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe that story is the story that is explaining what's going on here. That maybe Michael, in his innocence of being like a young boy in innocence and being naive at that point, because look at him, he is that naive at certain parts of that. He goes really far with it. Maybe there was a point where he was so naive that he actually did take a hot tub nude with a young boy, okay? Maybe that did occur, or maybe a shower. Maybe something like that did occur, but without Michael actually being a pedophile. But there's things like that that could have occurred where Jordy could have this actual firsthand knowledge of detailed things that he should not have. Okay, now, with those evidence, Michael should have went to jail with the evidence that these videos put out. He should have went to jail. I say that straight out. This evidence is hardcore. You people that are saying there's no evidence and all your no. And you guys are talking about the Wade stuff. This is the Jordy, the first one. There's this video over here has got the police detective guy that was doing the investigation. Oh my God, he just destroys Michael with the investigation and their stuff. It's vicious. And when you see that evidence, it's like, okay, Michael was going down. That's why he paid him off. There was no doubt he had to get out of that. That accusation was coming at him hard. How was he going to overcome it? And the reality of it, the problem with it, what it actually was, is he couldn't actually overcome it because he did actually, I think he actually maybe took like a nude hot tub with the kid, you know, and if he did that, then he was not going to be able to deny any of the other stuff because that alone was going to convict him. If the kid then said it furthered into this other stuff, then that was going to be believed. Anything the kid said was going to be believed, which I do think that the father could have coached the kid at that point and said, we're going to do that, and the kid could have went along with it. I do believe that the recordings and the stuff could have occurred that way, that the father actually, you know, it could be that way. But he only did that because of the reality that they had the actual evidence that Jordy actually took like a nude hot tub with Michael. It looks to me that maybe that's what's going on here. But the reality is the only reason Michael was so naive to put himself in that situation is because of my story, that he's orphaned and he's so damaged that Diana, and he's having no sexual contact throughout the 70s. So then when he gets into the 80s and he starts living his childhood with these young boys, in his mind he's purely thinking young innocent innocence. He's not thinking anything, but he's missing the one fact is that he's an adult. He's now actually an adult, and those are children, and that's the problem we're having here, and that's where everybody and all of the confusion is going on, and that's what is allowing, since all of this confusion and all this stuff has happened, there is a form of attack coming to Michael Jackson where people do say, call him a pedophile. Because it looks like that's what Jordy's dad did, but not Jordy. Jordy got mixed up in it, but it's Jordy's dad, okay? Then with Wade and James, to me it looks like there's a psychologist, psychiatrist that they went to, and that's where it spawned from there. So that's where I would look at this. So there is some people that are saying that and manipulating it that way, but the only reason is because Michael did cross these lines. There are things that he crossed. And so people say, well, you can, if he did that, then it can say this. That's what they're saying, and that's the problem. And what I'm trying to express to you fans so much here is that you're not going to stop this. The evidence that this girl in these videos and what's going on now, Michael's in big trouble, and nobody's actually stepping up to explain, because the fans are saying it's okay for Michael to touch kids. That's what's wrong with you fans. You fans keep saying it's okay for Michael to touch kids. It's okay for Michael to sleep in the room with... No, it's not. No, it is not. It's not okay. It was never okay, and everybody that's not a hardcore Michael Jackson fan knows that was not okay. There's something wrong. And you Michael Jackson fans, when you're trying to put up an argument that it's okay, you've lost. That's not even an argument. You guys are going to have to explain what's going on. And I'm the only one here that can actually give some form of a credible explanation to who that man was. Why was he touching those boys, but he's not actually having sexual contact? What the hell was actually going on? Only my story, that Michael's actually an orphan. He was given to the Jacksons. from his real parents, Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson. Then at 10 years old, Diana informs Michael. Then she nurtures him and starts gaining like his trust and building him like she's a family member back with Michael. But then what happened is Diana developed her own family through the 70s, through the 80s. Michael then got completely left out of her family. He was thrown out of the Jacksons by her, basically abandoned. Then she basically left him out. That's why you see Michael into the 80s trying to regain that childhood and hanging out with the kids and stuff. That's what all of that's about. After he was completely abandoned and abused by all of them, he went to these kids and he didn't care that he was not having sex. That was in his mind. He said, I'm not having sex with these kids. What are you talking about? For him to touch on them and do all the things that he was doing was improper, but he did not see it. And then society sees it as wrong. But in reality, if you actually understand who he actually was, it's not wrong. I don't think he did anything wrong, even to the point if he did take a nude hot tub, if he's not sexually touching people, and it's just, at that point, I think it's wrong, but it's excusable. Okay, what he did is wrong, but there's an excuse for it. And if he's not a pedophile, well, then it's not wrong on that level. And then everything of what he did is a form of excusable, and he didn't damage those kids to that point. He might have messed with them and did all kinds of little things that had things that affected their lives. But if he's not having sex with them, then those kids are just fine, and they don't got anything really to complain about.